Welcome to this gathering of wise women. I'm so excited to be here with these amazing women who are going to share with you their insights. I'm going to start. I'm Kaylin Castell. I've been working with the Sky Mysteries for over 30 years. And so one of the things that can help us to tune into the current time is to kind of know what's going on. And because we're informing the mysteries as much as they're informing us. And so when we have awareness around that, we can work with it in a more conscious way. And the biggest, largest context of what's happening for us is we are at the turning of a 26,000 year cycle, also known as the galactic year. And every December solstice is a further inching into that galactic year. And so we can set our intentions for the new year, the new solar year coming up, and the intentions for the new 26,000 year cycle that's also happening. And in addition to that, in 2022, we have the Uranus conjuncting the North Node. So if you don't know what that means, that's okay. But basically what it means is there's a revolutionary energy that is coming to reset the destiny of planet Earth. And we've been in it in a way, and we're going to continue to be in it for a while. But this year is going to be a lot of radical change that's happening. Anything in the way of what that new destiny is has to come up to get cleared. And so our opportunity is to continue to release anything in the way of us really being who we truly are meant to be at this time, and going through the process of forgiveness and self-love and, you know, connecting to the earth, because of course the North Node that's being affected by Uranus and also Taurus are in Taurus. And it's in a sense restoring the garden of earthly delight so that we can live in this world through nature in a way that we were really meant to. And the last thing I'm going to share with you is that we have a new Venus cycle starting in January of 2022, the last 19 months. And it is about connecting with our inner wise woman, the grandmothers, the ancient ones, the ones who can help guide us into this new time. And we each have that existing inside of us, but maybe due to cultural conditioning or something that we aren't even fully aware of, family conditioning, that kind of thing, there can be things in the way of that. So this is an opportunity to let go of that so that we can then step into that wise inner knowing. So the last thing I'll leave you with is that I've been working with this, the energy of the high vibrational energy of love, and proclaiming I am a superconductor of love, because that is what we need to bring into this new world. So if you can energize love within yourself and loving those around you, loving the earth, that is what's going to help guide us into this new cycle. And with that, I'm going to hand this off to Sarah, who is a priestess sister in my lineage, and she is also connected to the earth. So I bring you the sky, and she's going to bring you the earth.
Thank you, Kaylin. It's lovely to be here with you all. Really, truly delighted to be sharing this space with you. So so I work with nature, specifically with flower and vibrational essences, but you know, I just kind of hang out with the trees and the flowers as much as I can. So I wanted to talk a little bit about how I feel we can all walk with nature as we go through this portal and through 2022, but maybe specifically at this kind of solstice time in the Northern Hemisphere, when we have these beautiful yin energies. I'm kind of astrologically wired to be quite yang, so I've had a bit of a nature has been such a blessing to me, because she's taught me what it means for me to bring those two energies together. And increasingly in the last few months, I don't hang outside as much as I'd like to, because I'm a bit of a summer girl. So going outside in the cold and the wind and the rain isn't really my thing. But even when I go out for short periods of time, I really feel this, I actually don't have words for it, very rich, very stilling earth energy. And it just kind of changes me in seconds. It's the same kind of feeling that I get when I come out of my head and maybe have a hot shower or sit in front of a log fire. And, you know, it's just those moments when things change within you. And one of the ways that I've been honoring that every day is on the land where we live here in Southwest France. We're quite lucky to have, it's not huge, but a reasonable size of land. And we have 4 oak trees here. And when we moved to France, I knew that wherever we lived, I really, really wanted an oak tree. So when we got 4, I was like, this is it. So it's quite a big oak tree. It's probably, I've been told by the locals that it's kind of over 100 years old. So it's got a bit of clout. And I've created an altar at the base of it. And it's literally just a big breeze block. And I've got a lantern on top and some candles. It's super simple with a crystal. And I just go down there every day and light a candle, and it takes minutes. And it brings me, it's at a kind of line as well that I can see it at night. We keep the curtains open and I can see the candle burning under the oak tree. And it just brings me such a connection with that energy. And I really feel that that nature loves us to be in relationship with this in this way. And just down the line, down the garden from the oak, there's this very, very old willow, which has got a bigger trunk than the oak actually, and a huge willow canopy that hangs down. And the oak is traditionally known to have the kind of king oak, more masculine energies. So this willow's really calling for me to create a real sort of divine feminine temple. I call them temples, divine temples, because I've got my oak temple, and now I'm going to be co-creating a willow temple over the solstice. So it's something that everybody can do. Even if you lived in a flat, you can easily just buy yourself a beautiful plant, or just from your eyes out the window, connect with a nature being, light a candle, and the job is done, really. So I encourage everybody to just work with nature. I know from my own experience that I take my new moon intentions on a bit of paper and I tuck them at the roots of the oak tree. And I know it's maybe a sharing for another time, how very, very 3D the manifestations can be when you do that kind of thing. And so if you could just, I think it's a really super beautiful thing to do, very calming, and just working with the earth and offering our intentions out there into a space where we let go of them. The other thing that I'm going to be doing, which again is really simple, and I'd share this quickly from my essence self. Essences are made basically by taking a bowl of pure water of any kind, just not tap water full of stuff, but just some pure water, the easiest that you can get hold of. Place it outside. Don't worry if there's no sun. If you've got flowers, you could put them in, but this is more of a real sort of pure etheric essence. So write your intentions however they come through for 2022, maybe over the solstice, whatever feels right. Put them outside, with the bowl of water, maybe under the moon, doesn't matter. You choose what feels right to you, and then just put your intentions underneath and allow, because water, as we know, will absorb the vibrations of what's going on around it, and that will include your piece of paper. And then you can drink the water, or you can bottle it, you can spray it around yourself, you can. But yeah, it's just a super, super cool way of working with nature. So those are my sharings for us all to take this, to co-create with Gaia in the most beautiful ways into 2022. So I'm going to hand you over to Nalini. So I'm happy to be here with you, Nalini, and connect with you again in this way. Nalini is a lady that I worked with myself, as I'm going to call you a spiritual mentor, Nalini. I'm not quite sure if you're comfortable with those words, but that's how I refer to you. Been one of my favorite and most loved spiritual mentors. So I'm handing over to you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Sarah. It's actually been really fun for me to be here with the three of you. And as we were chatting a bit before this, talking about how Kaylin brings in the connection between the earth and the stars, and how, Sarah, you always bring in the natural world. You bring it right in with you. Every time we've ever talked, it's like all of nature, all of Gaia's natural world comes right in with you. So it's really fun to see that and to have that connection. You know, in the ancient traditions, they say the stars are in the stones and the stones are in the stars. And I think they're in our bones. And so this kind of comes into the tree of life, the tree that connects the stellar heart of Gaia and the stellar heart of the Great Mother, the galactic center, whatever you want to call it. So it's actually really, really fun to be here with all of you. And what I've been seeing lately is the solstice wave, the sort of tsunami that's coming through all of us. It comes through our cells, it comes through our bodies, it comes through the land, it comes through the stars. And it hasn't crested yet, and it's going through some very interesting stages, all of which I'm sure that all of you could recognize and comment upon. But what I'm noticing, what I've been noticing for this past year, is that every biped, every human-ish that I speak to or encounter has drawn in to their kind of crystalline orb, their orb of light, but to a very, very tight bubble, some tighter than others, some more formed than others. But it's quite interesting because I'm noticing this is the reality construct. It's like a mirror ball turned inward, like all those little TV screens in the Matrix movie where Neo goes in and he sees himself playing out everything everywhere. Well, we're all getting faced with ourselves in a very intense, a very implosive way. And most people are not aware. But an interesting awareness to apply to that is that this is a droplet in this wave. And as we can open into nature, into the stars, into the reality that is, into the quantum depths of ourselves, then the boundaries of that droplet actually become stronger, but they also start to become more open and more permeable and more one with the network of all of life that we are going to need to become one with. This is the upsurging of the yin crone, or the grandmother energy, the wise woman energy, is all of life is connected, and we need to hold, not hold, that's too fixed, but we need to flow with that energy. And this wave is doing that, not to us, but for us and with us. And what happens as it kind of, I don't know if it'll crest at the solstice, it looks like it, but there's something happening afterwards around the 24th and 25th as well, where those little bubbles that we've all, it's everyone really, have all kind of put ourselves into, they're going to flow freely as droplets in this ocean. And there's no ground. It's like the grounding is within that flow. The grounding is within that wave. And within the connections, there are little streams of light between all of the elements, all of the elementals, all of the stars. They've always been there, and they're within all of us as well. But then there will be more room, more expansiveness for those connections and that networking as this wave takes us into 2022, where all of the old ways of grounding will be dissolving beneath our feet if they haven't already. So that's sort of my seeing, and it's going to be absolutely paramount that we connect with those networks and with all of those points of light, however we express them. And it'll be interesting to see what happens to those bubbles. You know, I think we all are observers, and it will be very interesting to see what happens to various bubbles on the planet, ourselves included. Yeah. So with that, I would like to introduce Elizabeth, who is an amazing seer, an amazing mystic. If I were going to send anybody to study, hard and fast mysticism, it would be to her at this point. And I've never said that about anyone, even my friends. So, Elizabeth, what do you see at the moment?
Thank you, Nalini. I really wouldn't be here speaking with these masterful women if it wasn't for Nalini, actually. So thank you for that, and all the support you've given me in various ways over the years to be able to do this work. and do it well. And I learned how to do psychic sessions because of you. So thank you. So I love all these pieces because it's also exactly what I'm perceiving too. And I want to add in a little bit of the galactic part here because as well as the Earth going through her actualization process, and I would argue she's actualizing pure love, a level of love. I keep telling all my friends, it's like a holy crap level of love that you never thought existed, that you don't have any experience with. And now you're in a new place and you're just getting used to being able to look around and even see that there's anything here in this space. But the things that you have to divest to get used to that frequency is what's on the plate. So those, I love them, the internal, or like the mirror ball facing inward. That's perfect because that's all the stuff that you're being asked to divest. Whatever it is showing up in those little mirrors is what you thought you were. And I think that the earth is going through a remembrance. And right before we recorded this, we were talking a little bit about lost history. And I love that that's coming up because I think one of the common themes around all this will be remembering who you are, remembering that all those little mirrors are not you. And this activates certain aspects of people and the earth simultaneously. And I don't use that word lightly because activation is, I think of it in terms of chemistry. The earth's love is an activator. It's causing it's a catalytic event that we're going through that's forcing humanity to literally become something entirely physically new, very physically new. And we don't really know exactly what that's going to look like. No one should or could really, because it's a co-creative process. And the earth doesn't know, and we don't know, and we're going into this whole new place in space. So we're being bombarded by literally new energies that we don't have any tools to measure because we haven't ever been here in space before. And meanwhile, a 12,000 year cycle is coming around. And this cycle is that it's like, this is the tsunami of tsunamis. This is the mother of all tsunamis in consciousness. And all at once, all these gates of energy are opening up. So our galaxy, this little bitty galaxy going through this massive cloud of energy and matter, and we've come to a spot literally in this cloud where it's open, where it's disappeared. So now we literally have, very physically, have all this stuff coming at us that is so new that not even the whole galaxy's ever experienced before. Yeah. And then you have going down into the depths of what we're experiencing. We have then all the alignments happening in our solar system. We have the galactic current sheet coming around. It's pushing a whole bunch of matter and power in front of it. It's activating our sun into a new state, and that light is changing us. And then we have the light of the earth. We have the light of the solar moon, earth, star arrangement that has become more clear. I physically see it more clearly. And I happen to be on the equator, so I get the blessing of getting to see how clear it really is. But truthfully, it's so clear, it's changed even in 1 year of being here on the equator. The stars are so bright that I keep thinking that they're actually not a star, that they're like a sun. They're just so bright. And this clarity, I think, is sort of one of the outcomes of this mother of all tsunamis. So I I suppose, at least from my vantage point, there's a great dissolving going on. And in my own personal experience, it's relentless. And it's exactly what I've always hoped for. And I'm terrified out of my mind. And like, for real, levels of terror that I've never had before, because my ego's like, hang on a minute, what do you mean we have to go? Like, what do you mean we have to change? And what can't face this level of love is literally division. Division can't stand in the face of this love. We're all at the edge, and there's nobody behind us, there's nobody in front of us leading the way. We're all here at the edge. And if you're alive now, then you've picked one of the most intense and fantastic and most interesting times to be human at the moment. So that's what I'm perceiving, and the co-creation with the earth being really key, and getting your hands in the dirt, whatever that might look like, and getting to know her from a level of not knowing. So going in and being willing to not know what's going to happen or what you are at the end of all of this is perfect. Thank you.
It is.
Thank you, everyone. This was awesome. I love all the wisdom that's been shared. And so we will maybe perhaps do this again sometime. We'll see if that's something that it's kind of an impromptu gathering here. So wise women, thank you for your wisdom that you've shared with everyone. I hope it inspires the wisdom that is within everyone who watches this. And until we perhaps meet again.